Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never have before.
Where the mic drops, I just said goodbye.
No, let's keep going. That was funny.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam.
Bam.
That's why 2 weeks in a row I thought I could do without looking. Well,
where the
now that
mic stops.
Man, what a start. Well, welcome. And hope everyone's coming off a good week and we're ready to get into the next one.
Oh, man. That was a good one.
Yeah, so now that I've brightened up and given us a good laugh to start, get to some of the other things that had some fun laughs on the thing, and that was Final Four basketball. Man, some tournament runs we got to see. The betting line would have said, don't bet on the 4 teams that make it because only one of them was the actual, game on favorite. Oh, slide that in there. You want to put it there right now?
Forgot
I
about
don't
that.
know if you want him right there. He
He's
went home sad.
He's Texas. It's just a Texas, not a Longhorn. He is a Longhorn, but it's just a Texas.
But there were some great matchups. Watching all the games leading up, Creighton and San Diego State come down to a 1-point game. Texas and Miami have a great ball game. UConn, they didn't play games with anybody this weekend. They spanked anyone, both teams they played. Arkansas, Gonzaga, just spanked them. FAU beats K-State, and K-State's coach walks in the locker room and says, "You're the best team we've played all year." K-State, who's been in the Big 12 playing Texas, Kansas, and all these, he went in there and he straight up told those boys. So there's some respect there. So what we'll end up with is San Diego State will play FAU. It'll be the first time for FAU. This is the first time they made the tournament, so anything they do is a first. First tournament win, first all this, everything's a first for this whole program. So that's fun, cool for them. This is the first time for San Diego State in the Final Four. The last time they were a favorite to get there was COVID year, and that didn't happen. Season gets canceled. On the other side, you run into what most people think will be your actual championship game, and that's UConn-Miami. UConn plays ridiculous defense, holding Arkansas to 65 and Gonzaga to 54 while scoring 80 points in each of their games. Whereas Miami doesn't play nearly as good a defense, but they put the ball in the bucket. 88 versus Texas, 89 versus Houston, 85 versus Indiana. That's a 1, 2, and a 4 seed. They know how to put the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
So you should see a fun basketball game.
UConn is a 5.5 spread.
As I say, UConn's the betting line favorite to win the national title.
They have a 70. According to ESPN, they have a 77% chance of winning.
Well, here's my fun one for you. The coach for Miami is Jim Larrañaga. Jim Larrañaga was the coach of George Mason in 2006. That's how he ended up getting the Miami job. George Mason went on their 11 seed Cinderella run to the Final Four. Well, in the Elite Eight, George Mason played a 1 seed UConn that was the overall national favorite and betting line projected champion. And they beat him. So Jim Larrañaga has a good history against betting line favorite UConn teams, that's for sure. So it'll be a fun game watching them go, how they head up and play. Are you looking up their year there?
I'm looking to see.
You want to talk about old men too? Larrañaga's old. He's like in his 70s.
Who was on their roster?
On George Mason's?
Yeah.
Insert nobody. We won't know any of the names that come up on that.
2005, 2006?
It'd be the 05-06 George Mason Patriot. As I say, they should have gone all the way to the Final Four. Whereas who's on?
No, there's nobody I know.
Yeah, and then you have
Jay Lewis, Tony Skinn, Lamar Butler, Will Thomas, Lauren Campbell, Gabe Norwood, Sammy Hernandez, Tim Burns. Yeah,
literally,
there's nobody.
That's literally kind of how those teams that Cinderella run go is that when it's all said and done, you don't know who any other players are, and you go back in history and you're like, oh, I remember that team. And if you went on to whatifsports.com and simulated that game 30 times, that UConn team's gonna win the game, 29 of them. So whereas that UConn team, they had some quality players. Andrew Bynum, former Laker.
Oh, okay.
That was a starting center for that team.
Okay.
So they beat an NBA talent center. Rudy Gay was on that team. He's still in the NBA. I think that's about it. Marcus Williams played in the NBA for a little bit. So they played some NBA talent, so Final Four will be fun. I would say I want to see UConn win it because my roommate's a UConn fan. He's from Connecticut.
Oh,
So
okay.
when they win, he's in a better mood. FAU would be a cool story. My wife likes Miami because of the ESPN documentaries.
Mario, just because you're watching, go FAU.
Ah! Is Mario a U fan?
No, he's apparently going or went to FAU. So he's actually
that's pretty cool, Mario.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now I know that he is a Miami fan, but having
My
his
fellow Dolphin
actual school that he went to is in it, so he's
absolutely.
actually 100% rooting for them.
You should. That's awesome.
And Joel,
Mario,
if you're watching this, I know you're rooting for Miami. For some reason, he's from New York.
So basically, nobody's rooting for San Diego State.
Mm-mm.
So they'll be the ones that win it. So with that, transitioning to the other team, sport with a bouncing ball, the
What sport is
NBA.
that? Well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, how about we talk about the women's NCAA?
Oh,
Because that's something that we haven't done.
This is true. We have
And I made a little note here so that I would remember it.
my LSU Tigers are in the Final Four.
And Iowa, Caitlin Clark, the point guard.
A stud.
She is bad. She is bad, and she's the front runner for Player of the Year.
She got it. She just won it a couple hours ago.
Oh, she did. Oh,
She
okay.
won the National College Player of the Year.
Maybe I should have paid attention to that.
I mean, when you go for a 40-point triple double in the Elite Eight, you're pretty much a top.
Yeah.
She's a stud. I don't watch a lot of women's basketball, but I've seen her play. That chick's a baller.
Here's the thing, though. So they're playing South Carolina, and South Carolina is 11.5-point favorite.
South Carolina is undefeated, and most people don't see them losing. Like, that team is supposed to be just one of the greatest women's single-season teams we've ever seen.
It's from everything I was looking at, I was pretty shocked. They're probably going to dominate.
I have to say I want them to win South Carolina because I'm currently sitting in third in the office pool for the women's NCAA tournament bracket. I don't know how I'm pulling this off, but if they win and LSU wins the other side, because I picked LSU to win it because why not? They're 30-2, and Kim Mulkey coming from Baylor changed that program in 2 years. But if LSU plays South Carolina, then I am a lock to win the pool for the office pool of women's tournament brackets. So okay. I'm kind of sitting here going, come on, South Carolina. But I don't disagree with you. Clark's a stud. I mean, good court vision, gets the ball in the hole. UConn was missing. They had a young lady that's really good whose name is going to slip my mind now, but she was hurt this year with an ACL tear that was supposed to be the chick that would really rival her for the National Player of the Year.
Oh, okay.
Injured basketball girl. We're going to look it up like that and see what comes up. It'll give me her name, I'm sure. I mean, she was like Paige Beckers. She's like one of the highest paid NIL chicks in college basketball.
Okay. Well, then.
But no, I couldn't name you a single player on South Carolina. I just know they're really good. But I know that one of the finalists for the National Player of the Year in women's is on LSU, and the winner of it is on Iowa. So hard to count Iowa out when you have a player that good on your team.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Except for it's the only one on your team.
Yeah,
she's basically the LeBron when he was in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, and she's just like, hop on my back and I'll take you to the finals. We're probably gonna lose, and it's gonna hurt my legacy because I got us there. But that's okay. We'll be there. So now to transition, LeBron.
Speaking of LeBron.
Speaking of LeBron, before we get in the NBA, I didn't have this one written down. High school All-American game was last night. The McDonald's All-American game.
And I
I
saw Bronny with his
5.
dunk.
Well, that was in the dunk contest. He got runner-up in the dunk contest for the high school All-American game. There were 5 former NBA players' sons playing in it. Notables: DJ Wagner, which was Devontae Wagner's son. Peja Stojakovic's son was on the game in the game. Yeah, kid can shoot it. LeBron's son was in it. The other 2 aren't as big names. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are like the 3 were bigger name ones. Bronny went 5 of 7 from 3 with 15 points and 62 and a 62% clip from the field. And like now because he's like the highest recruit that wasn't committed already. Like everyone else is already. Kentucky next year, for your basketball people, Kentucky's going to be stupid good. They have the number 1, the number 2, the number 6, the number 11, and the number 21 recruit in the nation all coming to
Christ.
So Calipari decided he was time to get back to one and done because those 5 kids are all going with him.
Man.
There were a few other kids I got to see. There was only 1 kid in the top 10 that they showed that's going to the G League Ignite, that he's going to do the G League approach.
Okay.
And I think that's because of what we saw with the young man on the Mavericks that was a top-end recruit. Like we talked about last week, he was a highly rated recruit for the Mavs. He's slipping my brain.
Yeah.
I should know this because I live in Dallas, but he went to the G League, and even though he's playing grown men, I mean, they don't get the notoriety of the NCAA tournament. And I think a lot of parents are going to start pushing their kids to do the college way, even if it is just that 1 year, just because that notoriety, that exposure, that 1 year of college experience. Like a lot of guys will tell you that, like Carmelo Anthony is a NBA Hall of Famer. Jaden Hardy. Carmelo Anthony's an NBA Hall of Famer, and he'll tell you that playing in the NCAA tournament is one of the funnest years of his basketball life. Like, there's a lot of guys that... Kemba Walker, no one knows who Kemba Walker is if it's not for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And he went on to be a fantastic NBA player for a decade. So.
And LeVar Ball, he came out and he said that he thinks that Bronny should play overseas.
He wants him to do the Australia way, like LaMelo. I can't remember all the kids' names.
LaMelo, yeah.
There's
not
Jello.
Lonzo went to
that's right,
college.
But the only reason Lonzo went to UCLA, Jello was at UCLA. He gets kicked out of school for shoplifting, and that's when Melo, I don't want to go to college. I'm going to the Australia. No. Your dad's plan got messed up by Jello getting in trouble, so let's backtrack real quick and make it work. So it'll be fun. I'm sad that I don't know how much work that kid's got to do to make his own legacy, but he is a very good basketball player. Like, he deserves his college hype.
He should, in my opinion, he should go to college. Like, you're going to get the same thing from either way you go.
His NIL evaluation is worth $7.2 million.
And I feel like LeBron is going to try to push him to go to college rather than somewhere else. Because if he wants to play against a professional, he can always just play against his dad.
Knowing how much of a father a present father he is, like, it's important for LeBron to be a part of his kids' lives. Yeah. It always has been. He was at the All-American game last night sitting courtside. Like, he made sure he was going to be there. I really think he ends up at USC. Like, that's the favorite. He just played with one of the other commits from USC last night, and that kid was like saying, I'm trying to get Bronny with me. That allows him to still work with Bryce, be at all their games, because Bryce is the younger brother who... Bronny's not as big as LeBron. He's 6'3", but he's got the stocky build and the jump shot. Bryce is a sophomore, and he's 6'5", and most people think he'll get to 6'8", 6'9". So Bryce is the one that they think is going to get to LeBron's size.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's be clear. You're not... The LeBron James name isn't going away anytime soon, because if his boys are good, there's another 15 years of those two coming around. So, and good for them. Good family. Props to it. So with that said, and LeBron and some of his one of his former teammates, along with a few other guys, got in on the Hall of Fame class this year. 6-time 06 Finals MVP, 13-time All-Star, 2008 Gold Glove, 3-time MVP or league champ. My notes are kind of small here, guys. That's Dwayne Wade for you.
He's a Gold Glove winner?
Gold medal winner. He was a very good defensive player.
Maybe he did.
But he's currently the owner of the Jazz. But he got voted in yesterday, along with Paul Gasol. That was a weak vote in, if you ask me. But Tony Parker gets in, a 4-time champion. Becky Hammon gets in. I mean, great player.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich, winningest coach in NBA history. But the local favorite's going to be the Diggler. Dirk Nowitzki gets in, over 31,000 career points, Finals MVP, League MVP, got 1 title. Most say one of the more notable titles. They were joking about, when they were talking about it, how he should go on to the stand and, under the weather, to start his Hall of Fame speech. Dirk's too professional to do that.
Because he's going in with Wade.
Because he's going in with Wade. It would be a great intro. For those that don't know, in 2011, when the Mavs played the Heat for the finals, there was some joking in the hallway among some of the Heat guys, and Wade, one of the guys notably, was coughing and acting like he was under the weather because there was talk that Dirk was sick for one of the finals games. And then Dirk went on to lead his team to come back and win the championship. And so it would be pretty fun if he threw a little dig at it.
I mean, that would be. That would be. But
he's too classy.
I don't know, man. Like, as long as I'm sure that it'd be something that they would talk about beforehand and go, hey, man, because just who Dirk is. Like, it would be something he'd be like, hey, I'm probably going to do something just to, like, kind of have a little fun.
My wife used to love Dwayne Wade. I'll say this. I don't hate Dwayne Wade. Most Mavs fans despise him.
Yeah.
I don't hate the guy. But he's the worst in All-Star game.
You're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan.
I know. He's the worst dunk contest voter there's ever been. Like, my wife used to call him Smiley because he does. He has an infectiously large smile. The dude always looked happy. My wife hates him because he was the judge for the Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine dunk contest, which is one of the greatest dunk contests of all time. Like, we crap on the dunk contest now, but people don't realize that was just 5-6 years ago. That was one of the greatest dunk contests ever.
Yeah.
They put on a show. Aaron Gordon had a better performance, but Zach LaVine was putting on just under him. You have to give him 50 dunks for all of them. And my wife's like, screw this. They need to tie. And when Wade holds up a 9 on Aaron Gordon's last dunk, she's like, F that guy. Instantly. To this day, she hates him because he screwed Aaron Gordon out of a dunk contest that she was like, Aaron Gordon was better. He was better. But LaVine was still hanging 50-pointers at the same pace. You can't change the rubric because they're breaking it.
Right, yeah.
And so, but I would assume local basketball, Dirk's probably the Mount Rushmore of NBA for Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's probably a Mount Rushmore.
There's no one else close.
I would say he probably, if you're picking 4 sports, just Dallas sports people, I think Dirk's on it.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, across all 4 of the major, 3 major sports, whatever.
I would still say even with the older people, he would still be on it, but I don't know how high he would be on it with an older generation because of Staubach and a lot of those other guys.
There's going to be people that fight to the nail for.
So he may not be
Aikman.
He may be that 4th guy on some of those.
So we're saying the Mount Rushmore of Dallas athletes has no Texas Rangers then.
Nolan Ryan.
I don't even think of Nolan Ryan first as a Ranger.
Do you realize how many of his no-hitters came as a Texas Ranger?
Do you realize that Ferguson Jenkins had a better win-loss record and lower ERA as a Texas Ranger?
Don't care.
Thank you. Do you realize that Michael Young is your all-time franchise hit leader? And
Do you know who
Gold
Nolan Ryan
Glove,
is?
3 different positions.
Did you see what Nolan Ryan did as a Texas Ranger?
Did Nolan Ryan
Does
help the
anything
Rangers
else
get to
matter?
a World Series?
No.
Because Michael Young
Nobody
did.
did.
Michael Young helped him get to a World Series.
Was
2 of them. He was on the team. Both
Oh, yeah,
times.
he was. Yeah,
And
he
he's
was.
your all-time career hits leader. He played short, second, third,
But-
but he went the whole infield for that team. Anytime they brought in a young guy, he said, "I'm willing to make the move to keep my bat in the lineup."
He was a really, 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 really good player. But he's not Nolan Ryan.
I'm leaning. He's my Mr. Ranger. No,
I mean, my Mr. Ranger is Rusty Greer, but
we went
but
way
Nolan
off the
Ryan
topic of
is
basketball.
yeah. Basketball.
Basketball.
Dirt is on that Mount Rushmore.
We'll get back to baseball in a little bit.
Over there in that, I would in my era, I would at least say 2, but more than likely I would put him at 1. Because he brought the championship that we've been missing since the Cowboys in '96.
Exactly, and his fadeaway is one of the most iconic iconic shots in the history of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, it changed the basketball the way he did. He's one of the founders of the shooting big. Like, he is. And if you don't like the space and play game, you probably don't like Dirk, because the way the game spreads out now and bigs are willing to shoot the ball is because 7-foot Dirk came in from Germany and was like,
well, there was another guy that came in before him. He came in too early. It wasn't the time yet. Dirk was the one. It was that time.
Yeah, he was able
But
to
that
start
was
helping that transition.
His name was Jonathan Bender.
Okay, I know that name.
He
His
was
son
drafted by
is
the
one of the
Pacers.
ones that was playing in the All-American game last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, look at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, he was a 6'11" shooting power forward guy, just like Dirk. But the NBA at that time, because it was, I think he was early 2000s. It was right before. It was like 3 or 4 years before Dirk. So
Dirk came in 98.
maybe it was before then. You know what? It might have been. No, I don't know. Maybe it was after Dirk.
I know the name though.
But for some reason, he was just one of them that they wasn't ready for him yet.
Yeah.
And Dirk, for some reason, was the one that took it off. And Bender just fell out of nowhere.
Well, the Mavs definitely hit on him. That was a great selection by the organization to have him. And he was a good organization guy.
This actually brings up a good thing. What our question listener, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, so he actually messaged us. I don't know where it's at now, but there was a post that came up about Dirk, Tim Duncan, and Kobe Bryant about how they've only been on one team, and he's on the fence, or he's one of them that believes that Dirk has not played on one team because technically he was drafted by the Bucks.
If you're gonna say that, then Kobe was drafted by
the Hornets. So that was something that I told him, and but I was like, but when I looked it up, I was like, so technically, because it brought up Luka also, because Luka was technically drafted by the Hawks.
Yeah.
And I told him first off, well, the way that the NBA does their draft trades is ridiculous.
It's super confusing.
There's no reason, if you've already agreed on the trade, there's no reason why that guy has to go up with another team's hat when it's already agreed.
My understanding is that the reason he walks up with that hat is that I don't think the actual league year
starts stupid.
It doesn't
It's
start
stupid.
Okay, but if the league year doesn't start until like 2 weeks later, and so those players cannot be traded per the league rules. I think it's stupid, but I think
It's
that's
just
why.
the dumbest thing.
Yes.
And so I brought that up, and
Really
then I said the only one that you can actually make an argument for is actually Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant was with them. His trade never actually went through. So Dirk was a draft day trade. Luka was a draft day trade, even if it didn't go through until a week later. Kobe was actually a Hornet, or he wasn't part of the organization because he didn't want to be there. But he was actually part of that organization for over a month before he was finally traded.
Was he really? I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
So I didn't know that because I looked up when he was traded, and I was like, oh, well, when was the draft that year? And I was like, dang, he was there almost a month before he finally got traded. So I was like, he's the only one that you could almost consider.
Yeah.
But at the same
if
time,
he
you
never-
can't because he was never part of that organization.
If he never suits up, he don't.
So there you go, Chris.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. I gotta say, if they don't suit up and play an official game, no, I won't even count a preseason game. It has to be an official statistic game.
Yeah, I would say preseason.
No, because the stats don't count, so no one's ever gonna know.
There will be pictures. You wore the jersey.
You could have worn the
Of
jersey.
course, he'd be calling me.
You could have worn the jersey just in a general walk around the street,
Well,
though.
I mean, that's
Practice
true.
game. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. Like, if you're
I
not playing,
guess.
if you're not playing in a real game, NBA, one of the 82 game block, then it doesn't count. You're just a regular old guy playing for not
okay.
one
I
franchise.
think that's a little too far, but okay.
One franchise. So.
Because I mean, if you look at now I'm going to get off topic again, but football, guys that play in the preseason, like it still shows on their resume that they played preseason for that team. Like even though they never none of those stats count anymore. Like, but if you look up just their thing, it's like if you look up stats, it's only going to show the regular season.
I guess you have to
But
count
if
the
you look
preseason.
up that player on Wikipedia, it'll show who they played
you know
for.
what? I guess I say that. I'll take it back a little bit. It has to count the preseason because technically, the playoff stats don't count towards your regular stats, which count towards your Hall of Fame resume at all time. Because like Dirk's points, these 31,000 are regular season points. There's additional points from the playoffs. So technically, yes, I guess if you play a preseason game, you would. But this doesn't matter. Kobe didn't.
Yeah.
He's a Laker through and through.
But there you go, Chris.
So, with that said, Hall of Fame class, it's a pretty solid one. The NBA's basketball in general is pretty weak about how you get in. This time, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
The only one I would say maybe is Paul Gasol, but with that
He's a
said,
two-time NBA champion, man.
yeah, but he was never like the best player on his team.
Well, you can't be better than Kobe Bryant.
I mean, you can be, but
Yeah,
only
well,
a
yeah,
couple
if your name
did
is
it.
Michael Jordan.
So, with that, the Eastern Conference has the Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, Cavs. They're in. That's locked up 1 through 4. The Knicks are in the 5 seed. They're 3 games up on the 7. The Nets are in the 6. They're a half game up on Miami for the 7 seed. Those are the play-in. The rest of it, Hawks and Raptors are tied for the 9. Bulls are the 10 seed, and they're up a game and a half on Washington. The East isn't nearly as playoff race as the West is, but the East, as most people think, is still the stronger top-end conference. But then you run to the West, and the Nuggets actually the Mavs are playing the 76ers tonight in a huge game for the Dallas Mavericks because they can't afford to let anything else slip away because they're sitting as the 11 seed right now. They are outside looking in on all forms of playoff basketball.
Embiid and Harden are both playing.
Yeah.
Who did not play last night
Yeah,
against
just
the
gonna
Joker.
That was the other thing, is that the Nuggets...
That's why Embiid does not deserve to be MVP.
MVP voting was Embiid. Joker, after last night, is now averaging a triple-double for the season. And Embiid sits out, his team loses, the Nuggets get the win in a battle of what top seeds in the conferences, potential finals matchup. I'm for it too. I think your MVP has to be either Giannis or Joker. Can't be Embiid. He just sat out one of the biggest matchups of the season.
Yeah.
Now I get he's leading the league in scoring. Tonight that could change though, because between him and Luka, I think it's only like a 0.4 point separation, right?
Yeah, that's
So, and
it's right there.
Game's out of it because
And-
he's done for the season. So,
And they're playing each other tonight. Wow.
yeah, so that's gonna be a fun one. It's on right now. We could probably get the score.
Yep. It is 62-59 Dallas right now.
And then Mavs are up by 3. Looky there. So and like we said, they need that one because here's why they need it. The Nuggets and the Grizzlies are clinched. Ja Morant's come back and hasn't missed a beat. Grizzlies look good again. The Kings have not clinched yet, but they're basically in. Suns, Clippers, Warriors, Wolves, Pelicans, Lakers, Thunder, Mavs. That's 4-11 in a row. They are all the 4 to the Mavs at 11 are separated by 3.5 games, with 6 games to go for most teams, and a lot of these teams have to play these teams along the way. The Warriors or the Suns are getting KD back, so that most people think that'll lift them, space themselves. They'll probably win a couple games, keep them out of any issues. Clippers, they've been playing better of late. The Warriors had a game this weekend that some people are saying might have flipped the switch to put them into title contention again. Because even though they are historically bad on the road, they've won 9 road games all season. As a current lock in the playoffs, they've won 9 road games. You know the worst record a team has had to win the finals on the road was like 18-22, and the Warriors are 9-28. But on the flip of that, they're 32-8 at home. So you don't want to play them at the Oracle.
So, a fun little thing I saw earlier today was in the last 32 games. Do you know what the Atlanta Hawks are?
The Atlanta Hawks? I do not.
16-16.
Oh, there you go.
You know what they were in the last 28 games?
I'm going to go out and say 14-14.
14-14. And it all goes back down.
Oh my. They're just
like they're consistent all the way to like the last 4 games.
Is Jason Garrett their coach? People they go 500. I mean, hey, but in the East, 500 gets you in the playoffs. And if you look at it right now, the Hawks are sitting in the playoff or in the play-in. But so there will be some fun races to go. Basically, everyone's playing tonight, so some of these standings will change tomorrow by the time our show's even up on the air.
Yeah.
But it's going to change constantly. Like I said, there's going to be the last game of the season for most teams is next, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. So we'll have one more regular season broadcast, and then it'll be like, by then they should have locked most of the playoffs up. It'll be just seeding and shuffling around. I like my Thunder, but the Mavs would be a better playoff team. I wouldn't want to play the Lakers in the playoffs now. Not that they're getting healthy in those figures. Pelicans are looking good, and there's rumors that Zion could make it back. If the Pelicans can sneak in without him, watch out.
That'd be impressive.
We know he can play. Yeah. We know they're better when he's playing. It's just, can he stay on the court? If he just shows up and he's like, all right, guys, I'm here when it matters, I mean, hey, there you go. Like, because
you come in at the right time.
Yeah.
You're doing what LeBron's doing.
The thing is that you look at all these teams in the West and, like, Joker's really good. But after Joker, you're like, they have a bunch of solid role-playing guys, but role-playing guys can disappear sometimes in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Murray's a good scorer. He'll get his, but you just don't know if something's going to change and mess them up there. The Grizzlies, they're still young, but, the Kings, amazing turnaround. Amazing. The definition of a win-win trade is Domantas Sabonis for Tyrese Halliburton, who they sent to the Pacers last year to get Sabonis. So when they made that trade last year, everyone was like, why are you making that trade? That's stupid. Well, Domantas Sabonis is one of the best big men in the league this season, so that's why you made that trade. So it'll be fun. The West is going to be a crazy event once the playoffs start. So then we get to keep rolling, because tomorrow opens up baseball season.
Opening day, baby!
I mean, I may have voted for it to be a national holiday. It'll never be one, unfortunately, but starting at 12 o'clock, we have baseball games going, and they're going all the way till midnight, because West Coast games will start at 9 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow we get to see Jacob deGrom make his Rangers debut, and he goes out against the NL champ Phillies. Of all the, you don't want to sign your big name ace and then him turn around and face a team in his 4 times a season for 5 years as he left their division.
I mean,
But
you're sending the guy off that knows the team pretty well.
on the same boat, he might. But that Phillies team is, I mean, they were World Series runner-up last year, and they add Trey Turner to the lineup. And Trey Turner was crushing balls for the World Baseball
Man,
Classic in
he
Team
was.
USA.
Whew.
So that'll be fun. The Cubs will play the Brewers. That matters to me, nobody else, and I don't care. But, I mean, as far as potential playoff game that you might see, the Giants play the Yankees. Garrett Cole's always fun to watch. The Blue Jays, that lineup is stacked. And 3 years ago, we called them young talent, but now those guys have been in the league 3 or 4 years. And Vlad Jr., Gavin Biggio, all those guys are going to be able to put on a show. They'll play the Cardinals, which, God, I hate the Cardinals.
Oh, Texas and Phillies will be on ESPN Plus.
Okay, then that's a 3:05 first pitch.
Yep.
If you're lucky enough to have opening day tickets or tickets, yes, duh. Take pictures, post them on our group page, show everyone off where your seats are. Anytime you go to a sporting event, I'm going to encourage that you post the pictures of the event in our group.
Yeah.
We want to see you enjoying sports. I'm going May 12th, I believe it is. Front row and left field to watch the Braves and the Rangers play. I'm going to get pictures of the stadium, different players coming to town because it is the Braves. They're only here, every other year. They'll come to town. So we're going to encourage that. If you go to, and I don't care if it's a high school sport. Like if it's a sport and you're there, take pictures, post them. Show us that you love sports too. It's always, anything y'all post and engaging in the group is going to come back for us to have more content to talk about. So
Absolutely.
I didn't figure
That's a
he'd
good
have
idea.
a problem with that thought at
No,
all.
that's a good idea.
We want to enjoy sports, I figure. Like that's, as much as we like talking about what's going on.
Except for softball. We don't want you to take pictures of softball.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
Hey. You take pictures of softball. I've got some friends wanting to do a little walk around special. The Nature's event is coming, and I might know some guys. I might make some interview calls. We'll see what happens. But with that, I mean, you're going to see some fun stuff. The Yankees are calling up Anthony Volpe, the 21-year-old top prospect. He's supposed to be their next Derek Jeter. Like, he's supposed to...
That's a lot of pressure.
That is a lot of pressure. I mean, but the kid, Derek Jeter's already gone on Twitter and, endorsed the kid as the guy. And he's supposed to be a stud. I mean, he's 21, 22 years old, high upside, power to all gaps. So we'll see what happens there. Zach Greinke is back in a Royals uniform. Now, it's been 13 years since he pitched for the Royals, but he's back to the organization that brought him up to go on that one last hurrah run with them as he's their opening day starter. So, my laptop locked me up. Where's what?
Oh, right there.
The
Okay.
pitching matchups? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Against
fun ones.
Pablo Lopez. You know what I find funny here while I'm looking at this is the Mets at the Marlins. So Max Scherzer is going to be on the mound, right?
Oh, yeah. Still a stud.
ESPN is showing that you can get tickets as low as $5.
That's not even the crazy part. The kid that he's pitching against, Sandy Alcantara, was the NL Cy Young runner-up last year. That kid deals.
Why are tickets so low
Because
for a matchup
nobody
like that?
wants to go watch the Marlins. Look how much tickets are to the Tampa Bay Rays. I bet you they're what, $12, $13?
Tickets as low as $56.
Oh, are they the home team?
Detroit at Tampa.
That's impressive because normally Tampa Bay is one of those teams that nobody wants to go watch.
The second lowest is Cleveland at Seattle,
Which
at
is
13. And
that's two perennial
Angels
playoff
and
teams
Oakland
possibly.
at 15. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Angels and Oakland are at 15 when you have the best player in all of baseball pitching that game. Shohei's gonna pitch. He'll likely hit too. And honestly, I've looked at it. We saw how he did in the WBC. Do you think he can get the Cy Young and the MVP by leading the league in home runs and strikeouts? Do you think he can actually pull it off?
I would say yes, but I think the bigger question is, would the MLB do it?
What do you mean?
Would they vote? Would they make him that, even if he clearly deserved it? Would they let him have both of them?
I don't see how you can't. I mean, you're talking collusion if you don't.
You're also talking about a sport that's got unwritten rules and it's
true.
It's a lot of stuff is like whoa, we can't, like, it's got to be two different people.
But you know what? We say that, but there was a run there where they were giving, like, I used to say, the MVP should not be able to go to a pitcher. Like, it just shouldn't, because a pitcher's only pitching. I still stand by that. He only pitches 35 times a season, a starter. So he should not be able to win an MVP award, in my opinion. It drives me nuts, especially when they have their own award in a Cy Young.
That totally makes sense.
He breaks that rule. Like, he's not that rule. He is very much capable of going out and hitting 45 home runs. I'd say he drive in 150 runs, but the Angels suck, so they won't have he might drive in 98 runs because he hits a home run and Trout was on base. Like that. That's going to be the big problem, is getting runners on base to drive up those numbers. But you take the shift away, that's going to increase batting averages across the league. Like, there's people saying on a text...
Take the shift away.
Well... I mean, you took the extra infielder on the other side away, and it's going to change. We saw that fun lineup at the Red Sox thing, but you're not going to see that on a regular season game, I don't think.
You don't think so?
I doubt it. Maybe against the Joey Gallo, but most guys are good enough hitters that most guys are now, they are good enough hitters that they can get it in the air to the other side.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay.
I don't think we see that goofy shift. Why is she calling me? Okay, that's my wife, and she knows we're out here filming.
Oh.
So I don't know about that. But I just don't know. You're looking at the fact that he could easily hit 45 home runs. With the averages going up, more than likely, he could probably jump up to a 290 average. She just called my name. Guess I might have to do a pause off and run away in case there's an emergency. But I want to do that real quick because I've been sick. We'll be right back. You feel good there.
Yeah. All right. So while he's doing that, I'm going to talk about some of the dumb rules that I looked up that I think could be worked on, I guess. Taunting in the NFL. I'm totally okay with taunting. I don't understand why you won't.
Misunderstanding, we're all good.
Okay, so we can skip that part.
What were you doing?
And we can go back to baseball.
Okay. Well, we've touched on most of baseball. I think there's going to be some fun things to watch, though. The Rangers are going to be one of the more improved teams. So if you live local, watch them. Corey Seager
we won't be here in Nadal.
No.
So for an extended period of time. Hopefully he comes back soon. But
which one?
The voice of the Texas Rangers.
This is true, Eric Nadel. That's sad. He's probably one of my favorite sports voices that there is.
So that'll be something different that we'll have to get used to this year. At least for some time. He didn't really give a specific. He just said that he wouldn't be there.
He said until he gets
early in the season.
Yeah. So but Jared Sandler will fill most of his time. He's been doing a lot of games for the Fan, and he's a regular insider.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. He's good caller of a game. Like, he does call a very good baseball game, so that'll still be fun. So, now, that said, I think you're rolling into football?
Yep.
Okay, so how were you starting football off?
I basically started off with talking about taunting. Talking about the rules that could kind of dumb.
Yeah, I was going
to do that to fill in a little bit of time.
That's true. That was a question we were asked on Facebook today. Is what is a stupid rule? And most of the time when we were talking about stupid rules in sports, like, my wife pitched that question because she was running the bases one time, and a guy hit a ball and hit her. And in baseball, softball, if you get hit running the bases, you're out.
Yeah.
She hates that rule because it happened to her. And so she asked us what rule we think is dumb. And we kind of kept going back to football.
Yeah, there was
our stupid rules.
It just seems like there was more in football than there really is in anything else.
The ones that were popular online we saw were like, people don't like the drop third strike rule. I don't mind it. The catcher's job is to catch the ball.
Yeah.
So if he catches it, you don't have that. The possession arrow in college basketball, not a huge fan of that one, but I get it for player safety purposes. We both agreed though the catch rules are the biggest break, I believe.
Yeah.
What is a catch? How many feet down universally between the two leagues?
Yeah. It's just, and I'd have to look at what the XFL is doing because I actually don't know.
I don't know that rule. I didn't even check on their season.
Because I know that XFL does, they have a lot of different rules because they're basically experimenting with different things.
They're trying to become a minor league of the NFL. And they're not hiding that.
Yeah. And what they're doing is good because they're showing that they can actually that we can do other things in the NFL and it'll work. Yeah. But like the catch rule has always been something that bugged me because we can go back to Dez and whatever that was. To me, if I don't care if the football moved unless it moved out of your hand. If the ball is in your hand and it just barely turns, did you see that? That little bitty thing? Nope, that's incomplete. It's dumb. That's a catch. Yeah. It's a catch.
If you catch the ball, stop penalizing them for being athletes. We also said that I think we agreed on this, that we would decide that it makes no sense to us if it's 1 foot and 2 foot for a catch. But we want to see them universalize the college rule to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because we already see crazy athleticism in these guys. We watch sports to see crazy athleticism and crazy plays. That's why we get involved in sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're telling me that all they have to do is slam one toe down and it's a catch, Lord only knows what them dudes are going to do up in midair, and I want to see that.
Exactly.
I'm about
there have been some really good catches that were not catches because it was only a 1 foot.
Or they tacked one and they couldn't drag the other.
Oh my God, that is the greatest thing. And you're like, he didn't get both feet in. And you're like, you took one of the greatest catches away from someone.
And then what's funny is they'll still show that as a highlight on ESPN, and they're like, it doesn't count, but look how great this effort was. And you're like, yeah, but it doesn't count. Why do I care?
Why remind us?
And as far as the XFL rule, I can't find that. I do have the standings I can bring up in a minute. But.
Well, so one of the other things that I was actually talking about was the taunting. They're grown men. They're celebrating.
What?
Just let them celebrate. If they get a sack, so what if he's looking right at the dude and he's like, yeah, I just sacked you. Who cares?
Really and truly,
even NBA does it where they stare them down after doing a big dunk. Apparently, you can't do that anymore.
And you can't hang on the rim. I get why you shouldn't hang on the rim because it's bad for the goal. But don't taunt them.
Yeah.
Who cares if they just flew over someone? Hang over them, point at them, call them your mama. I want you to piss off my player because as the coach or the GM or even a fan, if my player responds by going in his shell, I don't want that guy on my team anyway.
Holding under pressure? Yeah.
You can't handle shit talk? Get your ass to the bus.
I tell you what, another one that I thought of was the way that defensive players have to adjust to a sack.
The body weight rules and all that.
That one's ridiculous.
And they talked about, that was one of the votes that got shot down, was to review those plays.
And that blew my mind that failed.
Well, you know what though?
Or did it get shot down or they tabled it?
I think they tabled that one, so that means it's still being talked about. But, we saw them approve the replay of pass interference to please the fans and the coaches, only to never overturn one and then appeal the rule, repeal the rule the next year. So, they might table it and then put it in, and then the refs will look at the cameras and go, oh, we're right. And not ever actually change it.
Yeah.
Because change was done to the fans. So, oh my, speaking of cheap ticket prices,
They are pretty cheap.
You can go to an XFL game at the old Ranger Ballpark, which is the better ballpark.
True that.
Now Choctaw Stadium for as low as $5 to watch them play Seattle, which isn't that Josh Gordon's team?
It is.
You could go watch Josh Gordon play for $5 in Arlington Friday night. Hell, I might have to call my dad and see what he's doing.
Isn't that who Nooch plays for?
Isn't Danucci on that team? Let's see.
The one last thing that I want to bring up is the difference between the overtime rules. Now they experimented.
They have.
But I want to see it become like the actual rules. Like I'm done with this person scored a touchdown and this person didn't, so it's over. Like
I'm the exception to the rule on this one though.
Really?
I wish they would go. I guess I'm going to say the same thing as we did the catch rule. I'd love to see them universalize with college football.
Oh no, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
People hate college football's overtime. And I don't know why.
So
I love it. The LSU A&M game that went 7 overtime.
I don't want that. And that's not what the NFL wants.
Oh, not at all.
They're not wanting to do that. So what I want is 4 downs. That's all you get. 4 downs. You're not gonna make this long, drawn out thing. You get 4 downs to score. It's either a touchdown or a field goal. Next thing comes up, touchdown or field goal.
Well, that's basically what you get in college. You get
except
25 yards, so that you can really only get 2 first downs.
Yeah, but this is 4 downs and that's it.
Where are you going to start them at?
In my opinion, it would be like a 35-yard line. So you can
at least get
they can at least get
blitz.
to the 25 in 3 downs, kick a field goal, or they can at least get to the 25 and score a touchdown.
You are going to put the soft leg accurate kicker out of business.
Yeah.
Because the only kicker anyone's going to want is the guy that can
Justin
boot it
Tucker.
from 35. He's the greatest kicker probably ever. So
Morris, baby.
he's like a amazing opera singer.
Is he really?
He graduated with a degree in music from Texas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's he has a opera level voice.
Well, since we're talking about these rules, let's go ahead and.
I was going to say something talking about the Ravens.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the taunting rules.
This is true.
But they added some new rules. We talked about that.
They did add some new rules.
And
Number 0.
Number 0.
Only 3 days after Dion said nobody wants to wear 0 because 0's for losers. I like wearing 0.
Everybody is
says,
like, oh my God, I want 0.
And the first player that I heard that literally got it was Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley was like, I'm the first 0. Within minutes of the rule.
He's the NFL's first number 0 since 1976 when a Houston Oiler wore 00. That's what they reported. It was what they reported. So it's not like I did the research.
Yeah.
I saw someone report that I think it was in the 70s, but it was a Houston Oiler that he was the last person in the NFL to wear a 0 when they got rid of it.
Okay.
And so Calvin Ridley is the first person since then to have number 0. Now we've got a bunch of other people. For the Cowboys, Jaron Kearse is going to wear 0. I know Michael Parsons wanted to wear it, but apparently Kearse got there first. So
that's actually official. Jaron Kearse actually has it. Well, and if you're Michael Parsons, in order to change your jersey this year, you have to buy all the remaining stock. It's going to cost you like $1 million. That's how the jersey rules change. Yeah. Whereas if you're Jaron Kearse, you're not a big enough player, so for them to buy a Kearse
and not only
jersey,
that, he was a free agent, so
so he could change.
He was re-signed.
Yeah, so
he could technically change.
Yeah, the only way a current player can change their jersey without having to buy the whole stock is they have to tell basically the league 1 year in advance.
Yeah.
And then they can stop production of the old number, prepare to produce the new number. Because Parsons is still like the 3rd highest or 2nd highest selling jersey in the league.
Which is why T. Higgins is going to be wearing number 5 this year instead of 85.
It's true. I saw that change also.
So that was good. And so let's go ahead and talk about that Ravens.
As I've already stood up once, I need to stay and check something else because it's going to be heartbreaking for us. All right, good. We're still recording.
Okay. All right.
I had a phone call come through again, and I was like, if these people keep calling and cut it off, they're not listening, do not disturb mode.
So there's a lot of Lamar Jackson drama going on.
And he is firing Twitter up.
He is. And when I say drama, it's good drama for him because he's letting things known. He's putting it out there.
Yeah, he's starting to do the agent approach where he's telling you what's going on in the world, what's going on with his situation, like all this stuff that people had not known because he'd been playing it all so close to the vest. Like, he's done, in all honesty, he's really been good to the Ravens.
Yeah.
With how he's handled this and how it's gone on. And in light of what the news is, they've kind of played him. Like, it's pretty crappy on their end.
Well, it's a business.
It is.
They treat him like an employee. Like he's like the best employee you'll ever have.
I was gonna say, but I guess you look at it and you look at these organizations and people look at the Ravens as one of those organizations where players want to be. Like, it's always been seen as one of the high-end, top-end organizations. You wanted to be a Raven.
If you were a defensive player.
Well, you wanted to be, but there's always you never heard bad things. Like, no one wants to be a commander. Like, you've always had problems.
Ozzie Newsome isn't the general manager anymore either.
It's also true.
So that's a big change for, I guess, the atmosphere.
That's gonna play into it also, yeah. And so, but to not report, like, to tag him like they did in that non-exclusive tag just after his trade request, knowing that his value wouldn't be met on that tag, like, that's pretty crappy in my opinion, because I wouldn't sign the tag at this point.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
Then the problem is we've went over this in a previous video, that the teams aren't doing it because they don't want him. They're doing it because they know whatever work they put in, the Ravens are just going to match it and be like, okay, well, that's what we're paying him.
Well, you know what?
And that's all it is.
I'd have thought that then, but knowing that he wants out and he's now gone public with his out, so are they going to do that still?
Okay, so from what I read about this is the trade that he requested didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. Like, it didn't matter because of the tag. He can say he wants to get traded, but the tag is there. Yeah. They put it on him. So no matter what, if he wants to get traded, all he's got to say is, I don't want to be here no more. It's the same thing as saying, I want to be traded.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is.
Well,
he's just hoping that whatever he can get from someone, the Ravens don't match it, so that he can go.
Isn't going to happen at this point because no one's giving him anything.
Yeah, and even Arthur Blank.
Yeah, so you got owners talking out and saying there are reasons why, and then you got Lamar coming out defending himself. Like, Arthur Blank came out today and was like, our problem is that we just aren't sure if his style of play. But we're talking about the same guy that drafted Michael Vick, so if he can't be too worried about style of play.
Well, but he understands that style of play after drafting Michael Vick.
Well, true, but he didn't lose Michael Vick to injury.
And that's true.
He lost Michael Vick to dogs.
But he understands that the running style,
for sure, and how it could impact the length of his career.
And then the fact that Lamar has missed at least 5 games in the last 2 years due to injuries.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking at it from the business side going, like, yes, the player is worth that, but the player with the injuries, how long is that going to last?
Or is it, how do you not know if it's an anomaly or
like,
what?
Is all this money that I'm about to dump on you, am I only going to get 2 more years out of you because you're going to end up getting injured and you're not going to be the same guy no more and you're going to be RG3?
Yeah, and then you factor in that the other part of it is that the teams don't want to give him the money he wants because of the Browns breaking the market.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson's contract, prime Deshaun Watson, pre-everything that went on, before missing surgery and all that, he's worth every penny of that.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, before all this stuff went on with him, was one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, the last 5 games of last season, God, they better hope that's not who they got.
Yeah, and
because that guy didn't look like the quarterback.
You got a guy that's basically been out for 2 years.
Exactly, and so
there's going to be some rough.
Exactly.
roughness.
So, but they're hoping that he comes back because right now, Everyone in the league, though, is looking at how he played for the money that he's been given, fully guaranteed money, and they're saying, that's why we don't do that. Like, they're using that as the justification to not give Lamar the kind of money Lamar wants. I truly believe that. And it's wrong that the owners are doing this, but he is in a war at this point with other GMs that was started by the Browns.
He's in, and it sucks to say this, but he's in a losing war.
Yeah, he's not going to win. He's not going to
he's
beat
not gonna win.
32 billionaires at a battle of horse.
31.
31, yeah. he's not gonna beat them in a battle of chicken. Like, he's gonna have to back down at some point.
Yeah.
And if he does, the only way he's gonna do it is one thing I was always confused about. I never asked you this: the tag that was used on Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Does that count as one of the 2 franchise tag years?
It does if he signs it.
So if he signs it, then they can only tag him
unless,
once.
So if he sits out, then they can tag him again.
Yeah.
They'll still
but
have
if he
2.
signs the tag,
He's got to play.
and then he plays, then next season he
then
can
it's only
still
one
be
more.
tagged.
Yeah, only one more time.
I didn't know if that counted as one of them or if it was a different tag, and so therefore
no,
it's
as
the
long
third
as it's
year.
a tag. Yeah, as long as it's a tag. But yeah, if he decides to sit out, then they still have 2 more tags.
Okay.
So even if he decides to sign it and then says I'm sitting out, like, they still get 2 tags because you didn't play under that tag.
Yeah.
So it's I mean it's ruthless. Like, you're gonna play for them, or you're not gonna play.
Yeah. And then you've talked. There have been a few teams that have talked about him, and they just doesn't hold it. So it's gonna be a weird situation. I did have a fun thing to throw at you because of the draft coming, and I know how that's going. I think I've decided that Anthony Richardson's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. You know why?
Why?
Because I think they think their quarterback for the year is in the building.
Really?
I think the Colts have full intention behind Shane Steichen, isn't that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Steichen?
Mm-hmm.
Who brought Gardner Minshew with him from Philly. I think he's going to run out Gardner Minshew, and he's going to draft the upside guy and see if he can let him sit for a year to teach him, because that team has more holes than winning next year.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to say, okay, we're going to run Gardner out, and for the first 8 weeks, if Gardner balls out, cool, Gardner gets to play the season out. We let Anthony develop. If Gardner sucks, then week 8, we throw Anthony in and see how he's done. We've given him 8 weeks to learn the system, or 8 regular season weeks.
So, I have that, so I'm not going to disagree with it, but I will say this. Ballard is not the type of guy to the GM, Chris Ballard. He's not the type of guy that's in a hurry, even though he's on the hot seat. He's not. He's a very conservative, relaxed kind of guy. So he's not going to make something go, well, we need the quarterback, so we're getting this guy.
Oh,
And
for sure.
so I do have reservations about it just because of the huge either bust factor or hit factor to this guy. Like
that's why we've said we think he'd be great in a situation where he doesn't have to run out day one.
I just don't know if Gardner Minshew is good enough
I don't know
to make that.
I don't know if Gardner Minshew is. I've always been a Gardner guy. I love Gardner. But I'm not saying he's good enough to be your guy. Like, he's not gonna be that guy. But Taylor Heineke could win games in this league, and he's better than Taylor Heineke. Like, I think he's a better football player than a Taylor Heineke. And Taylor Heineke just went to Atlanta and is getting paid like $10 million a year
To be a backup.
to Desmond Ridder. So I just think that you could. He's a very Alex Smith-like to me. Like what Alex Smith was with his Washington days.
So this is where I was going to go. I could totally see them going after Will Anderson instead of a quarterback and taking Hendon Hooker in round 2.
And that still leaves
Minshew
as the guy. Which, for me, I would love it. I would root for the Colts wholeheartedly
because
for Gardner Minshew.
Hooker is one of those guys. I mean, he's old, which, Mike Tannenbaum, you're an idiot for putting Hendon Hooker at number 5 in your mock draft. You're stupid. if you didn't see that mock draft, good, because it was stupid.
And if Mike
Hendon Hooker does
Tannenbaum,
not go in number 5 in the first round.
if Mike Tannenbaum sees this, please at him because we'll just be
At
glad that you
Wolfman
saw our show.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hendon Hooker, I mean, other than the fact that he's old and coming off of a torn ACL, like, I mean, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just he's old, so
He didn't.
you're
blossom from it.
basically in a way like the age that a quarterback is when teams know that he is who he is like 27, 28.
Yeah.
So Hendon Hooker
Gardner's not
is
that yet, by the way.
is like 25, coming to
I was
the
gonna
NFL
say-
at 25 years old. He's probably not even going to start until he's 26. So
Yeah, because he'll take.
you
he'll
have
have
this
to
short
get healthy
amount of time to
most of
get
all
him
next year.
to that point of who he already is, or is there a little bit more, or is there a lot more? You have a short amount of time for that, and that's why even before his injury, he was going to be a late round or a late first round pick at best.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the skills. It's just there's something there just because of his age that's going to set him
Minshew's
back a little bit.
26, by the way.
Okay, so he'd be a year older than
He'd be a year older than the rookie quarterback, and he's got like 5 years experience in the NFL. I don't know. I think even if they do that and they keep that approach, I still think that Minshew, it was quietly a good signing because he's the best quarterback in their locker room through the last 2 years. Like, he's better than anyone that was on the roster last year. The Colts would have been. Huh?
He was better than Wentz too.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
Who was a former Eagle.
Right, so he's easily probably, like, they'd have been blessed to have him over the last probably 3 seasons now that we think about it. He might have been better than Phillip Rivers. I mean, so really, the Colts might have had their guys sitting in backup rosters. But, I don't know, I love his personality. He's a fun dude, so I hope for him to have the best.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad in Jacksonville. You look at his numbers, he's not the reason Jacksonville sucked. Jacksonville was really bad. And you have to take Sunshine. Like, I get that. Like,
Oh yeah.
you have to pick Trevor Lawrence with the first pick. You don't. There's 7 guys in the league that are on your team that you don't pick Trevor Lawrence if you had the first pick, and those are guys like Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen.
Teams
you
that
have
aren't
Kirk-
going to be drafted in that area.
Yeah, exactly. If you have Kirk Cousins and you have the number 1 pick and Trevor Lawrence on the close, you think about it. Kirk Cousins is a good
I would
football
trade
player.
Kirk Cousins in
Exactly.
in
Kirk
draft
Cousins is a
Sunshine.
good football
Yeah.
player, but I'm trading Kirk Cousins. I'm getting a middle, late first round pick from someone else. I'm picking Sunshine because
I'm about to say that a second, but
in the league now. he's
speaking
getting
of
first.
seconds, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. So
This
this
is true.
actually shocked me because the whole time that this was going on, I thought that the Jets were going to have to give up their first round pick. And now it's being reported that the deal is basically done,
Yes.
but they're still working out the kinks of if Rodgers doesn't play in 2024,
'Cause,
what
which
kind of
I-
reimbursement the
I respect that for the Jets to
the Jets
make
get
sure
back.
that they have a
Yeah.
course and a plan of action in the event that this is a 1-year thing, like just so we don't overpay.
So what it comes down to is they're going to be giving up at least 2 second-round picks. And from what I read, the 2024 second-round pick will turn into a 1, and I'm assuming that's if Rodgers
plays in 2024.
So yeah, it'll turn into
I'm a
1.
little surprised that it's not the for sure second rounder this year because it's gonna be a middle. It's gonna be a top.
Well, it's
50.
one will be for sure second rounder.
Yeah,
this year,
I'm surprised
but
it's not this year's second though.
you
and
mean
then-
both of them that are back to back.
True, they do have 2 back to back. So I guess I'm saying I'm surprised it's not both the back to back seconds after making the trade with the Elijah Moore deal to get that
Yeah.
one, and then next year's third with escalations based off performance. Because
So-
we've seen teams do that.
Yeah.
Like if Rodgers goes out and plays like a stinker, then they only get a
Carson
third
Wentz.
round quick. Yeah, but if Rodgers goes out and he plays at Rodgers MVP level, that's a second rounder. If Rodgers elects to play in 2024 after playing at that level, now you're giving up a first. And if you're the Jets, you're not mad at that. You're going, yes, take it. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. You're not gonna because the AFC is loaded.
Yeah. So, so they have picks 43 and 44 back to back. So, one of them is going to Green Bay. maybe both of them. I don't know. I just know that there's supposed to be one this year and one next year.
Yeah.
And the one next year is they did it that way so that it could turn into a first just if he plays. So they're kind of covering themselves, but there's
It's smart.
apparently a little bit more to it.
I don't think that the NFL teams do enough escalator trades like that.
I think it should be like
Accommodating.
league-wide, yeah,
Yes,
like
like
normal.
Like we should see more trades because I think that if we saw more trades in that way, we would see more both teams won the trade.
Yeah,
More balanced trades because now we see a lot of times where you can clearly point at a deal and go,
D-Hop.
this team won, yeah. Or even there's one going right now. The trade that the Rockies traded. This is going on baseball, but they traded Anthony Rendon. Or not Rendon. Nolan Arenado, one of the best third basemen in baseball, MVP candidate, all that. Of the 5 prospects they got back in that deal, 4 of them have already been cut from the organization. That guy was only traded for like 3 years ago. Yeah. So like some of these trades and how they like the escalator or what makes them fair and all that, like come on. Like there's gotta be something to make sure because when you make a trade like that, it's supposed to move your organization forward by building in it. So these draft picks, the NFL is the easiest one to do it. If we trade you so-and-so and he has 50 catches, then that pick goes from a 5th to a 4th. Like it's that easy. Every one of them. And those teams aren't going to be mad when they get the production like that out of a guy. So, yeah.
No, I 100% agree.
There's a few of them. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion, though, that Rodgers is going to be a Jet. Like, if you look at any best free agency acquisitions list, they all say the Jets trading for Rodgers, and it hasn't happened yet.
And speaking of the Jets, Ezekiel Elliott
Has no love.
well, so the Jets already came out and said, we're good with our running back room. We don't need him. So
As it should be.
yeah.
They have a good running back room. Brees Hall, Michael Carter.
Michael Carter, that's who it was.
That team has a good running back room. It's not necessary.
As long as they stay healthy, they'll be good.
Yeah, Brees.
So Zeke doesn't. There's no reason for him to be there now. He also wants to go to the Bengals and the Eagles.
The Bengals came out, literally the first team to come out after he said, I'd like to go to the Bengals, and said, our running back room's good. A running back room that might get Mixon suspended, doesn't have Samaje Perine in it anymore.
Right.
I'm really not sure who the next guy up is. They said, no, we're good.
Who did they bring in?
Has Kareem Hunt signed with anybody yet? Wasn't he a free agent?
Yeah, he's still a free agent.
Huh. Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. So the one other team left is, the Eagles, who famously signed DeMarco Murray from the Cowboys. Of course, the Eagles got Penny. They've got Gainwell.
And they came out and said they like their running back room.
Yeah.
Like, nobody, there's not a market for Zeke.
So in my opinion, there's a good chance that Zeke is going to be wearing the star again. I think he'll end up coming back at a low price.
His jersey
and
number's been given away now, so he's going to have to come back at a low price in a new jersey number.
Yeah.
But he wants to.
Because Gilly's going to be wearing 21 now.
Yeah, because Gilmore took 21.
That's right, baby. Bring back that Dion, baby.
Oh my.
Hey, I'm pretty excited.
I'm going to be a hyped Dion football coach, though. Coach Prime is a blast to me. So
talk about the Commanders since we're
in the
NFC East. So let's talk about the Commanders.
$6 billion is
Do
what
you think Snyder will do it?
Dan Snyder's the one that set that price. They said he came out and said the only way I sell the team is if I get $6 billion.
I know,
and
but
then
do
two
you think he
people
will do it?
within 24 hours were like, "We've got the $6 billion." One of the teams isn't one of them like linked to Magic Johnson involved in it?
Yeah, it's a team with Magic
Well,
Johnson in there.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a Cowboy fan, when Magic Johnson touches things outside of AIDS, that shit comes gold. Like, he's one of the greatest businessmen there is. Like, he owns like 50 Starbucks. Like, anytime he gets in on a startup business, it becomes successful. If he gets in on the Commanders, I just wouldn't doubt that they become good at football again. So
and the other one is a French billionaire?
Canadian.
Yeah,
a Canadian billionaire wants to buy the team that's located in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
That's
So
America do that.
on his own, like by himself,
Jeff
like,
Bezos,
not a team.
I need you to do that. You need to outbid that guy. Don't let the Canadian take the Commanders.
And speaking of Commanders, here's something that's been rising up in the draft community. Bijan Robinson has been linked to the Commanders quite often.
That would be stupid.
Like, they've already got Brian Robinson.
Who balled out last season.
But
after being shot.
But a lot of people are some people that I follow that I trust, their information, like they're coming out and saying like this is a very Commanders pick. It's a very NFC East pick.
Oh, that would be awful.
Like, it's not what I would want, especially as a Longhorn fan, to have to root against a Longhorn.
I mean,
that hard.
I don't like the Longhorn, but for Bijan, like, I didn't even get Bijan even. Like, for Brian Robinson, I don't want that pick.
Right.
I think he's done enough to earn the job. Like,
but
he balled out the last 7 weeks.
He was okay.
He was.
If you go back and actually look,
but they
like
weren't
we put more on the fact that he was shot.
Well, we do,
and he came back from it because I made the same excuse, but they started putting out all the just like look at the stats, look at it, and you're just looking at it going.
Yeah, but the running backs' numbers are so dependent on the offensive line and the quarterbacks' play.
Was good,
but the quarterbacks are not. You have no reason to pin on them throwing the football. You're going to key on the run in that offense. You're gonna have the extra guy down. It doesn't matter who it is.
Your running backs were not good.
Your running backs are better than Taylor Heineke. And I like Heineke.
He's not bad.
I like his try-hard attitude, but he's not gonna win you a game with his arm.
Well, no. I mean, I mean, the offense was what was always going to hurt Washington.
Yeah.
But the offensive line was really good. They had a lot of good players on the offensive line. The problem was just running backs were okay. The quarterback play was just okay. Like, the receivers could only do so much because of Heineke was just all right.
Yeah. 4 yards a carry.
What was it? No, that wasn't 4 yards. That was what?
3.9.
Oh, 3.9. Oh, okay.
That's 4 yards.
Yeah. Why don't you look up Zeke's number?
9 catches, 60 yards.
Look at Zeke's number.
Play. He was what, 4.2? We've looked it up before.
So he's worse than Zeke.
No, he's on a worse team than Zeke.
He had a just as good offensive line, and Zeke was better.
He is getting 24 carries a game. Oh, there you go. Giants against the Giants, he went for 12 carries, 90 yards, 7.4 yards carry. There's 18 for 105 against the Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons, though, like the 30th ranked defense in the NFL.
Okay, I still think I like the kid.
I like him, his story and everything. Like,
yeah, and I don't even like Alabama, so for me to root for him means he had to do something.
So like the story of him getting shot and everything, and then him coming back and doing a decent job. Like,
I mean, he had 800 yards
and then
205 carries.
Like I said, I put it on the fact that he came back from getting shot, but at the same time, it was all right. It wasn't anything great.
He only had 2 touchdowns too. But
so
they didn't score a lot as a team. 3 he had to catch.
Like, you get Bijan into that offense.
Well, I mean, we don't know. We don't know if Bijan makes that offense because at the end of the day, they still are questionable at quarterback. You have Terry McLaurin, and the rest of the guys are okay. They're all right.
Did you say John Dotson is? He's okay.
He hasn't done enough to tell me he's good yet.
He was a rookie last year.
No, and prove me wrong.
With Taylor Heineke at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's good. And then I guess they had the other guy's a gadget a lot. What's his name? That's gonna drive me nuts. Wide receivers. Actually started him in fantasy a couple times. Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel's pretty good. So I guess the weapons aren't terrible. Their defense is. Their pass rush is still pretty good. It's just
it was their secondary that was terrible.
Yeah, so that'll be fun seeing them get on the move. And then the fun sentimental move would be Bobby Wagner going back to Seattle.
Oh yeah.
I texted my dad that when it happened. He's a big Seahawks fan. He's like, he never should have left. Look, I get it. It happened already.
It was a blip.
He's back. Like, accidents happen. I guess it's the equivalent though for him to be like, because he hates the Rams. Like that's his like least favorite team. Like for him, it'd been like Kobe leaving the Lakers to play for the Celtics for 1 year and then coming back because like Laker fans hate Celtics fans.
Yeah.
Because of that. I mean, just take your favorite player, which my dad didn't even like Kobe, but he liked the Lakers. Take your favorite player, put him on your least favorite team for 1 year, and then put him back. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it was. And so, but he'll be a big help for that defense. That defense needed a veteran voice in the middle.
It really
going to
did.
be.
Like, especially with Jordan Brooks, who's probably going to be out half the season with his ACL.
ACL tear.
So, because they also brought in Bush, so him and Bush are probably going to be both of the inside linebackers, while Jordan Brooks is coming back from his injury.
Yeah.
So, like, they've done a really good job this offseason loading up on their defense that was bad. Like, they made it difficult for having 2 first-round picks for me to work on my mock.
Yeah, because they do have 2 first-round picks still because of the trade with the Broncos, who Sean Payton apparently has just come in and just overhauled that culture. Like,
Oh, yeah.
which,
Yeah.
good for that guy.
Yeah.
A lot of moves in their free agency. A lot of like he's not allowing players to use outside coaching. Like he's literally just come in and was like, "No, I am now the law, and y'all will follow it."
The biggest one is, or the 2 biggest ones, is the offensive line and getting Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey.
Oh yeah,
Like that was the 2 major things right there. That's gonna fix a lot of issues that they had.
oh yeah, because they had some O line protection issues. For now, if they trade, there's still whispers that they're going to trade Judy, which would be stupid.
No.
They canceled that finally.
No, Peyton came out and said we ain't trading either one of them.
Well, good. That'd been stupid to trade them.
So
Then you
yeah,
see-
that one's done.
There's also Cleus Campbell signed today with the Falcons.
Yeah,
He's
that's
old,
a
but
big
he's a
move.
veteran.
And
he's
he's
gonna give
still
them-
pretty good.
Oh yeah, and then Marvin Jones goes back to the Lions.
I like that one. I like that one.
I like
That
the
was a good
voice
one.
in the lock. Another veteran. Just young teams getting veterans are always good.
So that also helps with the fact that, I mean, you also brought in Chark.
This is true.
So now you got Chark,
Wait,
which is
Chark didn't stay with the Lions, did he? Chark left.
who'd they bring in?
They just brought in
it
Marvin
was
Jones.
just Marvin Jones.
They
Okay.
had Jameson
Chark
Williams
went
coming in here too.
to
Carolina.
Carolina. That's what it was.
Carolina.
I had it written down too.
Yeah. So with that though, I think that pretty much does it for the week.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy. Yeah, he's
Had his
basically.
surgery. He was announced as a starter. Props to admit you were wrong in front of everyone. Trey Lance is not the guy, and you admitted it. He does not like that at all. I respect it.
I mean, I still feel like it's going to be. I mean, obviously it's Purdy's team now,
Do you
but
not?
like, how do you not?
Question is do you not know enough about Trey Lance because of the injury that you couldn't still technically move him for high value? Because he was so young coming out. And
Yeah.
so raw.
Yeah.
He's only like 21 now or 22 now. He's younger than half the quarterbacks coming out.
And hey, if you're the Ravens and you trade off Lamar Jackson, I'd be on the phone with the 49ers going, hey,
If you're
I'll take that dude off your hands.
Kyle Shanahan and his creativity, if he somehow landed Lamar Jackson, oh my God.
No. That's not what I meant.
It's not going to happen, but I'm just
That's
saying
not
if
what
that
I
was
meant.
to happen. Yeah, but
I mean-
that would be a piece you would use to facilitate that trade. Trey
No.
Lance is part of that deal.
No, you can't. It has to be 2 first-round picks. That's it.
You're not allowed to put anything else
No,
in.
you
Oh, I
can't
thought
put
you were allowed
anything
to
else
negotiate
in. No,
more into it.
that's why when we talked about the trade, him asking for the trade, it didn't matter because that tag is for 2 first-round picks.
That makes the Ravens even shittier, in my opinion.
Yeah, like that's literally all
Wow.
that can be done. Like he can't do anything else. It has to be 2 first. So before the draft, it has to be a 23 or a 24. After the draft, it has to be a 24 or a 25 and a 25. So it has to be 2 first-round picks, and that's it. You can't add to it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, if the Ravens did end up letting him go to a team and take the 2 first-round picks, I'd be on the phone with the 49ers going, we can work out a deal. I got a couple first-rounders. Might give you 1. maybe just a second for
If you're the
Trey
49ers,
Lance.
you'll be happy to get a second and not over lose what you had and give him up. Hell, if I'm the Ravens, I go ahead and make the call and I bring in Trey Lance and say, hey, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
They've already endorsed Purdy as the guy.
Or
Sam,
you run with your Pro Bowl quarterback.
he was a Pro Bowler.
And end up with a really good pick in next year's draft. And Lamar's like, hey, yeah, I'm not going to play for y'all. Like,
That's okay. We're going to get Caleb Williams.
now. Yeah.
That's the thing that people are forgetting is that all the moves to get a quarterback and all that and jostling we have going on right now. And we've got 2 really good quarterback prospects coming out next year. Like, high-level recruits in Caleb Williams
like
and
on the level.
Drake May are like sunshine-level prospects.
Like very, very close to it. It's like Sunshine, Joe Burrow, these 2, everyone else in the last couple years.
Yeah. So it's going to be like, when we get to week 10, those teams that are sitting with 1-2 losses, they're going to be tanking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to, if you have a player that's on your fantasy team on one of those teams, like you might as well put them on the bench because they're not going to be doing much.
The coaches are going to come up with mysterious injuries. The ownership's going to come in and go, look, we're protecting your job for a year. Don't worry. We promise you're not getting fired if we get the worst record. Don't pull a Houston Texans and win the last game of the season. So, with that, that's it. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, follow, subscribe. And if you need help with your resume stuff, don't forget to hit Stephen Farmer up and SNK Consulting. With that, y'all have a good week. Enjoy the Final Four.